In recent years, several countries have introduced carbon taxes as a way of making consumers change their habits to support a green transition. However, it remains unclear whether carbon taxation and rebates can have a lasting impact on the reduction of greenhouse gas (GHG) emissions and consumer spending. Austria introduced a range of carbon taxes aimed at encouraging consumer decarbonization. In the Austrian model, the money raised from the tax gets returned directly to taxpayers. This was aimed at encouraging higher levels of public spending while reducing emissions, to bolster the national economy. The Central European country aims to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2040, a whole decade ahead of the European Union's deadline, and its carbon tax is expected to help it achieve this aim. In Austria, around 69.3% of GHG emissions were subject to a positive net effective carbon rate, ECR, in 2023, according to OECD estimates. Fuel excise taxes covered around 52.8% of emissions that year. The research showed that ECRs were $93 per ton of Colorado 2E on average, while explicit carbon prices stood at an average of $48. Fuel excise taxes amounted to $57 on average, and fossil fuel subsidies averaged $12 per ton of CO2e. The carbon tax is not only aimed at companies but also individuals, encouraging people to drive less and take public transport more, alongside several other habit changes. The rebate, known as the Klimabonus, varied by region depending on access to public transport networks and other factors, and in 2024, the annual payment ranged from $169 to $338 for an adult resident. There was a mixed response from Austrians when the initiative was first proposed, although it received wide enough support to keep it. However, this year, the new Austrian government decided to change the initiative by eliminating the rebate payments to taxpayers. The decision was made after assessing the total cost of the scheme in the face of a national recession. Austria has been forced by the EU to reduce its budget deficit by cutting spending, introducing higher taxes, and stimulating economic activity. Cutting the rebate is expected to save around $2.3 billion a year. While Austria has been successful in reducing its carbon emissions in recent years, although it is uncertain just how closely this is linked to the carbon tax and rebate scheme, its efforts to encourage higher levels of consumer spending were less successful. Austria's Chancellor, Christian Stocker, explained, it was also a compensation payment to maintain disposable income. And when it was sent to Austrians, the money remained in savings accounts at banks. It did not go into consumption. And therefore, the effect we expected was not achieved.